Well, he is, I said when he left, I said that's what a Hall of Famer looks like. Julian Edelman, 12 years, 3-time Super Bowl champ. Between Gronk and Edelman, the most consistent performers outside of maybe a Jerry Rice in the history of the league in the postseason. They were great. What a pleasure to have you. We were just talking about New England. I think there's teams that are 0-2 and good. I think the Chargers are actually a very good football team. I think New England is a very good football team, but you brought up a fascinating point. I have heard nobody say this about the CBA and how it's hurting certain teams.
Sloppy football. The CBA is making sloppy football. You're not having as many padded practices in training camp during the year. There's not many practices in the OTAs, mini camps, which guys need the reps. Guys need practice.
Well,
Offensive
line
was
known for details.
Our practices were tough, and right now you can't practice. Offensive lines, they need to be able to feel passing a guy off on a TE game. They need to feel, when there's a blitz. The quarterback needs to feel all these little things that they're not able to feel because there's a lack of practice right now.
It's interesting. I'm seeing Matt Stafford trust a rookie, the kid.
Atwell and
Puka Nacua.
Kua.
You built trust with Brady. Aaron Rodgers generally. Devontae Adams. It would take him time. I want to go back, and it's interesting with veteran quarterbacks. Veteran quarterbacks, in my opinion, first thing Tom did in Tampa, get the right tackle. Get me Gronk. I want protection. Yeah. Go back to your early Brady days. You were a quarterback, junior college, then you go play quarterback, Kent State. They draft you. But it wasn't immediate success. Was there an epiphany, a moment, a time, a practice that you felt Tom finally looked at you and said, I trust him on third down?
You didn't earn Tom's trust over one play. You had to continually earn Tom's trust. And he was big with the word trust. So what I had to do was, I heard that he would always go out to Los Angeles and throw with Welker, Moss, and all these guys. So I literally moved out to L.A., and then we were represented by the same people, Ian Dubin Sports. I told Steve, I'm like, you better tell Brady I'm out here. I want to throw whenever he wants. I'm out here for him. And that's when we started developing trust, when he started calling me. And like the first year he called me one time. I dropped everything. I went, and it was one time. The second year I went out there, we started doing a little more. And when we were doing that, I was not only learning what he liked, he was learning my body mechanics. When I drop my weight, how do I get out of cuts? And it was great for both of us. And it took us 3 or 4 years. I mean, we did it for 3 years until Wes left, until he didn't have a choice. Kind of like Stafford with the young Mapu. What is his name?
Puka
Nacua.
Puka Nacua.
Like,
4th round pick at a BYU.
He has no choice but to trust him. He's in a predicament where there's no Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, he's hurt.
Very much like when I got in there and they didn't have Wes. When Wes was there, he didn't want to trust me because it was Wes's gig, and he knew, and they had the reps together. When you don't have an opportunity or you don't have a decision and you have to go out, and that's what you're seeing right now. You have to trust a kid. That's why this Nacua and Stafford, they have something, because he has no choice, but he has to throw to this guy.
It's interesting that you've seen this in all sports, that what made Michael Jordan and Brady great was their ability, and Derek Jeter to a large degree. It wasn't that they were better in the playoffs, but they didn't erode at all. Tom was the same guy, Cleveland Week 6, as he was in the Super Bowl. We tend to think, because I watched every Patriot game I lived in Connecticut.
Yeah.
I saw practice. I saw everything. And I'm like, no, Tom's not great in the playoffs. He just never goes backwards for anything. And that is rare. There's pressure. There's internal pressure from Belichick, Skarnakian, Tom. And yet many of your great moments were in these Sunday night playoff games. Did you ever get nervous? The Atlanta Super Bowl, I look at you and I'm like, oh, that guy is a stone cold killer. Kent State, JC, these are the biggest moments in the world. This is like the World Cup. You never drop passes. Were you ever nervous in these moments?
It goes back to practice. Belichick and the coaches made practice so hard, the situation so hard. Like, I remember we'd be out there and we'd be doing PAT field goal, and Bill, there'd be something for, there'd be a rain game, and all of a sudden, Bill right before the snap would put water right on the ball for the snapper. Like, guys are just sitting there like, what is Bill? Like, everything was designed to be as hard as you possibly could because we had the answers to the test. You can go out and study what teams do situationally on third, first, second down. They're going to have a 60% chance of doing this. So if you make it hard in practice, when you go out and you have the answers to the test, Sunday it's just about execution. So you never felt like the moment was too big because of how hard and how they graded everything at practice. I mean, they used to watch us stretch. They had that on film. Like, the whole coaching staff would watch every bit of practice as a whole coaching staff together. It wasn't like the offense was just watching the offense, the defense. It made everyone accountable. So when you put that pressure on guys in practice and everything's being evaluated, when you get to the game, you're like, dang, we just get to play now.
There's the classic Wally Pipp comment about you and Welker. Welker's not there, you're there. And I've heard Bill has a very biting but funny sense of humor. In Boston, you're a California guy, but I was told this in Boston, that you're accepted in the club when they pitch a crap. It's endearment. And was there a moment with Belichick, you knew you were in the club, that you were Belichick, because there's the Wally Pipp comment on the sideline, a legendary video, but when not just Tom accepted you, coaching matters. Your dad coached your Pop Warner. When did you feel like, Bill, you were in the trust club?
When he would throw some shade at you. Like, when you'd be in a team meeting, he goes, look, Edelman, like, what do you think? I've coached guys like this. When he would throw shade at you, that's when you're like, all right, he likes me. Or like when he would be walking down, the stretch lines and bust your tail on something. And that's when you kind of knew am I allowed to laugh at this? Am I not allowed to laugh? All right, I'm going to laugh at this. And it was like my 6th year in, we already had a Super Bowl. So after that, I was like, all right, we can start laughing.
Are you surprised? Let's shift to Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Now, he gets a lot of reps like you at Kent State. You change positions. But there used to be an old saying in the NFL, Bill Parcells, I will not draft a celebrity quarterback out of college. Well, that's done. There's too many of them.
Yeah.
NIL. But I want 3 years starting. So this kid got high school, college, a ton of reps. He goes to San Francisco. I don't see nervous feet. I don't see anxiety. They're always on Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football. Are you surprised how, game one, that Fred Warner, Kittle, Trent Williams, it's like your Patriot teams. There's Hall of Famers. That dude just steps in, 7th-round pick, and doesn't care. Are you a little surprised?
You have to be. They struck oil. With the late-round pick, Mr. Irrelevant. When you watch Brock Purdy play, he processes the game. Like, you never see him double pump on something, double clutch. He knows where he's going with the ball, and that's a testament to Kyle Shanahan knowing what he likes as a play caller, what makes Brock comfortable, and also Brock going out and executing. Like, I went out and watched these guys in preseason, and I was a little concerned with his arm strength because he just had the UCL. Like, right. He was barely getting it out there. And what does Kyle Shanahan do? He throws... He gives them plays and throws that he knows he can make. And right now, because of the talent that they have, he doesn't have to play outside of his game. He just has to deliver the football.
Because, their guys are all good after the catch. Kittle, Debo, Ayuk.
Yes.
They're all tremendously physical. Christian McCaffrey, last night, 4th quarter late, they've already won, is banging around guys.
Yeah.
I always felt that you're a tough guy. Like I always feel, Christian McCaffrey, I'm like, Dad was tough, he was tough. In all your years, and you guys have kind of the same build, in all your years of New England, I always felt you were the smartest team and talented. But was there ever a team, there was a Baltimore team that came into Foxborough one year, and I'm like, I think they have like 70% better players. Was there ever a time that you felt, we are beating a team consistently, and they have better dudes?
I was always confident in our ability. I was always confident in our execution. And the times that I always kind of like, I remember we traded Logan Mankins right before 14. I'm sitting here like, I questioned Bill. I'm like, what are we doing?
That guy's a beast.
He's one of the best offensive linemen, the nastiest guy. He was the a-hole on the offense, and you need that. And when we got rid of him, that was my first time like questioning, like, what are we doing? We went out and won a Super Bowl that year. And that was like the last time I did it. Like, you always felt confident. You always felt like you were prepared going into a game, regardless of players. I had confidence in our coaching staff, and we had Tom Brady. So, like, regardless, I always thought we were winning every game we were playing.
Was Tom different on a Sunday night game, playoff game? I mean, like, personality-wise, would he sometimes come up, this puppy's on Fox, this puppy's on it? I mean, was there a little different for the big ones with Tom?
It would be when we played against Peyton. You could tell.
Oh, there we go.
He liked playing against Peyton. Early in my career when he was with Indy, and then when we'd play him in the AFC championships when he was with Denver. Like, there was always a little something there. But the one thing about Tom Brady, what people don't realize, what makes him, I feel, the greatest, is his ability to compartmentalize. Like, we see all the distractions a lot of these quarterbacks have and how they deal with the media. All those distractions were there. The friction between the team and the quarterback. Like, we hear and we see other examples of how other guys are handling it. You never heard anything bad come out of Tom Brady's camp, and he went out and executed, even if there was something. You understand? Like, his mom has cancer. He goes out and wins a Super Bowl the day, like that year. You know, the Bills stuff, all that stuff. He just continually, like, created stories and was able to, like, make this thing and focus on one specific thing, and that was just going out and playing his best game.
What do you miss about the game?
I miss competing. You miss going in. I miss playing in important games. That's the one thing you can't touch anymore. When you line up against another man, he knows he can't cover you. You know he can't cover you. And you go out and you get to execute, and you get to play football, make a big catch, go out and celebrate with your team. That's what you can't replace, is just going out and winning.
I watched 11 years in New England, which I still have great fondness for. You and I were talking before you came on, just that East Coast summer and fall. I'll always think of you. Night game, third down, need 6, and it was you or Gronk. It just always was. That must be an incredible feeling, knowing how much you were trusted by the city. Everybody in that stadium, Julian, knew it was going to 2 guys. The defense knew it was going. Did you ever have a moment of, because you went to Kent State, you were doubted, junior college. There had to be a moment of, I ain't bad.
Yeah, there was a moment. After 14, we won a Super Bowl. We were starting off in 15, like 10-0. The game seemed so easy to me. I was at, like, my athletical peak. My mental peak was crossing it. And the game seemed easy. And I remember I was in my Back Bay place, and I just bought it. I'm sitting there, man, life's good.
Back Bay's beautiful in Boston. Beautiful.
And that was the problem. The football gods, right after that, I broke my foot. Nate Soldier blows a pec. Dion Lewis tears an ACL. We end up losing the AFC championship that year. So, like, I always had to keep a mentality in my mind where I had to be, like, miserable. Because anytime I felt like I was there, something happened. I'd get hurt. I'd break a foot. I'd tear an ACL. So, like, I always had to flirt with that miserable line just because that's what I had to do to keep myself playing at the highest level.
That's a
happily miserable.
Well, you made a lot of people miserable in the National Football League. We're so glad to have you. By the way, you also played with Jimmy G. I've been defending Jimmy G.
Yeah.
And I always say this. He may not move a lot. He doesn't go deep down the sideline. Maybe it's a physical presence and confidence because he's so good looking. But on third down and you need 5, gets rid of it accurately, he'll throw right between the hash marks. When he was with you guys, he was a backup.
Yeah.
Did you know he's going to win some games here? He's going to be a playoff quarterback.
Yeah, when Tom got suspended in 16, Jimmy G came in, and we lit it up. We played a sexy Cardinals team that everyone was picking to go to the playoffs that year. And we went into their house and beat them. Jimmy G played lights out, executed the offense great. Week 2, we beat Miami very, very easily, but then he ended up getting hurt in the back end of that game. And Jacoby came in. We ended up winning 3 out of 4, but you knew that he had something. Yeah. He could execute. He's got like a naiveness about him where he almost doesn't know how big it is. Like that's the thing. Like I would be like, Jimmy, you know, and that works in his favor because even if he makes a mistake, it doesn't faze him.
It doesn't.
He's got like this naive kind of mentality where like, oh, yeah, whatever. Yeah. I'm like, and he will give you like 4 or 5 throws where you're scratching your head like, why are we doing that? But like he also knows how to execute an offense, and he is a winner. His stats don't lie.
41-18 with 3 different coaches.
The guy wins.
Yep. What a pleasure for me, man. Great to meet you.
It's great to me. I watch you guys all the time.
Okay, if you ever have Fridays, Thursdays, you're hanging around, you drop your lovely daughter off to school, and you're banging around, we got free coffee here.
Oh, awesome. And we got J-Mac.
Jets guy.
Ah,
Julian.
I was waiting for this.
I'm a Jets fan, too.
What
do you mean?
Well, anytime you play him, you get your best stats in a win. You get a best stat in a win, and it's like 2 wins because it's a division win.
That was a smoke right there.
That was perfect.
That's the best flex in the history.
Fortunately,
I feel terrible for you guys, though.
Why?
Because of the whole Aaron Rodgers predicament.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, we got Zach Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett. We're good.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Say more.
Hey, I'd bank on that, too, if I was you.
I like this honesty.
So do I.
You're no longer the honesty broker. This is
Aaron Rodgers was the guy that was going to help that ship go, and they weren't even managing their expectations when they had Aaron Rodgers. They thought they were winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, like,
he knows a thing or two about how hard it is to win a Super Bowl, and when you do, there's a humility. Be nice if the Jets rolled a little bit with that.
I keep on telling everyone, right now you're not going to pick a winner. I mean, we look at last year. Through 9 weeks, we were talking about Tua being the MVP. Then he starts having the head things going down, and then it's ultimately about the healthiest team who's executing at the end the best.
Yeah,
that's always how it was. My best team that I played on was probably 15. We started out 10-0, and then I broke my foot. Nate, tears a pec. Dion's out. We weren't healthy. We go in and we try to play the AFC Championship against the Broncos, and they were just healthier.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things that have to go your way to talk about the Super Bowl in September.
Julian's now on Fox NFL Kickoff, Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern. I used to be on that show, and they booted me to the curb smartly and got Julian Edelman.
Yeah.
It is great seeing you. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.